Your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. At 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100 plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100 plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. At 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, Tech Target, People Managing People. We offer 100 plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100 plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500 plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100 plus authorized training partners and 50 plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000 plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices.
Hello, dear participants. Thank you so much for joining today's session. We'll be starting a session now. Please allow me a minute so I can share my screen. And meanwhile, please let us know where you are watching this session from. We would love to know your location. It's always good to see how global audience is joining us. So please drop your locations in the chat box. And here we go. I hope you all can see my screen. And I would love to give you all a very warm welcome to our new series under AI, GSDC certified learning, intelligent automation and governance within AI agent with a theme that is what leaders must know about AI agent governance in 2026. My name is Pritam. I'll be here as moderator. Feel free to use the chat box in case if you have any question, concern, and I'm very happy to assist you all. So what excites this series more? As you all know, we always have this incredible AI experts joining us globally to share the insights on one of these important topics. So do join us this week, 20th till 20th April to 24th April 2026 with the same time slot. And you can use the same registration link for the rest of the sessions as well. And before I could hand over the mic to our speaker today, we'd love to introduce our hosting organization, specifically to those who have joined us for the first time. We're known as Global Skill Development Council. We're vendor agnostic, vendor neutral, and we are globally recognized certification body. Also, I'm very proud to inform you all we're accredited by ABICB. Also, we do have 100 plus certification portfolio with us, and we have certified more than 250,000 professionals worldwide. Also, we have 100 plus authorized training partner across the regions. And we're associated with more than 1,000 multinational corporates, 500 Fortune companies, and 50 plus universities across the world. And a very proud thing to share with you all that, as I mentioned, we do have 100 plus authorized training partner across the regions. We do have partners in Asia, Africa, Canada, America, and many other countries. So a big thanks to all our training partners for supporting us and those who have joined us to our training partner channel. In case if you're looking for any training program for yourself, feel free to reach out to our training partners to have an inquiry about it. I'll share the contact details shortly in the chat box. And special thanks to our official media partner, World Press Hub, as they cover all our events and press releases. A quick introduction to learning platform GSDC AI Studio, where we are providing 100 plus live sessions monthly basis, which is led by global experts, where you'll be getting 4 daily sessions, 45 minutes of live and impactful session along with the hands-on learning, which means you can apply all the concept that you have learned immediately. And in case if you get any question or doubts real time, that will be resolved instantly with the help of our subject matter experts and our global leaders. So real time support you will be getting here. Also, the training is aligned with the industry standards for the job ready skills. So this is an amazing opportunity to learn from the AI leaders around the world. So in case if you're looking for more information regarding the GSDC AI Studio, get in touch with the learning advisors. They're always there to help you with this entire process, how you can access to the GSDC AI Studio and everything. So I'll share the details in the chat box. So feel free to reach out to them to have any further inquiries. And this is a quick introduction to our certification portfolio that I have earlier mentioned that we do have 100 plus certification portfolio, right? So majorly we have the certification that covers different domain, which is learning and development, HR, generative AI, agentic AI, emerging technologies, ISO lead auditor, implementer, project management, PMO, agile DevOps, SRE, cybersecurity, digital transformation, and so on. So this certification portfolio is specifically designed for those professionals who are actually looking to upskill themselves or who want to stay industry relevant in this AI era, right? So feel free to check more information regarding all this certification, or you can simply reach out to our learning advisors or visit our website, which is mentioned below, www.justconsult.org, to check the detailed information, all the listed certification and other offerings that GSDC has for all of. And a quick introduction to all the benefits you will be getting if you opt out a certification from GSDC. You'll be getting lifelong membership with GSDC. With that, you'll be getting certificate upgrade, free access to all our events, workshop, boot camps, panel discussions that we often conduct for all of you. And guess what? You'll be getting free access to all of our exclusive learning program. With that, you'll be getting implementation resources, speaker invites, and newsletter. A lot of benefits, right? If you want to understand more about these benefits, please reach out to our learning advisors. They're always there to help you with this entire process of the certification program. So you'll find all the details in the chat box. So feel free to reach out to them. And without any further delay, I'm truly honored to welcome Kelvin again, as we already had him for previous session, and it was an amazing session and he shared the insights. So we are truly grateful for his contributions. So those who have joined for his first session, a quick introduction of the Kelvin. Kelvin is a product leader and author of We Should All Be Product Manager. He's a product manager at Citibank and has keen interest in applying generative AI and to reshape the future of the financial industry. Kelvin is passionate about building inclusive, intelligent system that drive trust, growth, and transformation in the financial sector. So let's explore today's topic, which he'll be presenting, which is building and implementing a governance layer within an enterprise AI system. What a start of the week with this topic, right? So thank you so much, Kelvin, for joining us today to share your insights. Really excited to your session. You can have the handover of the mic now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Hi. So if I can try to present now. Cool. All right. All right. Do. Just trying to set up my slides there. Oh, stop the share. And then let me share again. Okay. All right, cool. Hello, everyone. If you can see my slides, could you give a thumbs up? Or if you can drop a note in the chat, I would know that we're together. Super. Yeah. See preterm. Anyone else? All right, cool. We're good to go. So, hi everyone. Thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, Shana, thank you very much for the thumbs up. I say that. Thank you. All right. Thank you for the introduction, Pritam. It's good to be here again. I was here a few days ago, and it's good to be back to share some more insight and knowledge with everyone. As I've been introduced earlier on, I am Kelvin Ibrahim. I'm a product manager at Citibank, and I'm based here in the UK. Today, we'll be going over our conversation, which is building and implementing a governance layer within an enterprise AI system. And this promises to be a very practical session, but we're going to be looking at how we can implement, governance, we can implement layers of risk and control, and how, these governance layers can be introduced into enterprise AI system. Like you already know, AI is revolutionizing the way we work, the way organizations function. Most organizations are pushing for AI now. You need to be AI savvy. Everyone needs to be abreast with all the resources that AI, and the opportunities that AI presents. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. What are some of the governance layers that we need to integrate into the AI system? And I don't know about you guys, but every single time that, you go for one of these webinars or seminars and they're talking about AI, it's often a case of it can be arbitrary sometimes, it could be unrealistic sometimes it feels like we're not able to relate. And so I decided to try, to go a different approach today. And I'm hoping that at the end of, our conversation today, I'll be able to get some feedback to let me know what your thoughts are and if you were able to learn as much in a different style of learning. And so today, what I did was I decided to, let's try to approach this conversation in a different way. How many of you like to travel? I'm sure you'll be thinking about how travel comes into this, but in a moment we'll understand. But what are the three lessons we're going to be learning today? Now, one, we're going to be learning how to design an AI governance as a user journey, not as a policy, how to architect an enterprise AI ecosystem using the AI city blueprint, which I'm going to be speaking about in a moment, and then how to connect governance plus innovation without slowing the business. These are the three takeaways that I'm hoping that at the end of the conversation today, we'll be able to, walk away with that knowledge. Now, I built two different scenarios, and I refer to them as metaphors, which we'll be speaking about in a moment. The first one is the AI airport, and the second one is the AI city. And I think that this way breaks, the whole conversation into an interesting way that is relatable, is understandable, is fun, and is engaging for all of us to be able to be, to follow on in the conversation today. So we're going to start with Act One, the AI airport. Now, like I was asking earlier on, how many of you like to travel? How many many of you have always been fascinated by an airport. When you get to an airport, there's so many moving parts. You can see, like on the slide above, you can see the screens. There's a plane outside. There's a traffic control. There's registration decks. There's baggage. There's, stores around. There's printing of boarding pass, and all that stuff can be mind-boggling. That is the same way enterprises are from the look. When you look at the back end of what is going on in an organization, it's the same way we have, the same system is what applies. There are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of, risk levels. There are a lot of governance in place, just to ensure that, everything is moving smoothly as expected. Now, let's look at governance as an airport. What comes to mind when we think of governance? You want to bear in mind that before a plane takes off, from the airport, from the tarmac, as you refer to it, some people somewhere has given that level of approval to say, yes, we are cleared, we are good to go. Now, the airports generally is one place where the rules must be enforced. A plane cannot take off without making sure that all the passengers are fully boarded, they've gotten clearance to be able to take off. Everything has been checked. That's the same way we want to look at AI and how enterprises are able to adopt that. Now, before any AI system launches, the enterprise needs governance. What's the governance in place that we're talking about? We want to ensure that we complying with the compliance rules. We're not in breach of regulations. There are data layers. Personnels have different layers of information that they have approvals for. We're not toiling with sensitive user data. All that stuff are all the things that comes into the governance, talking about legal and compliance, risk and control, safety. All of that is where we look at governance from the airport standpoint, like we said before a plane gets cleared. Now, every AI idea is a flight. I want us to look at that as a flight. So before a plane, take for instance, Delta Airline leaves for Atlanta or anywhere it's going, that's the same way we want to look at an AI, for instance, a feature, for instance, or an AI tool, for instance. We want to look at that as a flight. So before it launches, what has that AI system gone through before it launches, before it even gets into the sky? This puts it, in a different light for us to be able to understand that runways, deployment pathways, as before we even get to, the runway to take off and all of that stuff, we need to ensure that we have gotten the final approval. There's no risk. There's no compliance issues that that we ought to have gotten approval for settled before we hit the runway. Now, you also need to know that you cannot scale AI without structure. And if there's something that we should know about AI, is there has to be a proper structure in place. And I think during my last conversation, I spoke about sandbox and production, all the things we can do it's in the sandbox environment, and what happens when we get into, a production environment, which I will touch on later on in a bit. But we cannot scale AI without structure. We need proper structure for AI to be scaled, which is part of what we're going to be speaking about today, looking at the structures that we need to put in place before we scale AI. You cannot innovate without safety. And we have seen it over and over again that one of the key areas that a lot of organizations have really struggled with is the safety of implementing AI into our system. Is there going to be data leakages moving from from production into AI that has not been cleared, and sensitive data that we shouldn't, for users that shouldn't go out, we shouldn't toil with, for instance, getting external info into internal enterprises without having proper clearance for all of that. Those are some of the safety nets that we have to consider when we think of innovating with AI. Now, the airport as a metaphor is where trust is built. Now, we look at the airport, we're talking about all the systems in the airport, all the screens, all the governance, all the safety, all the legal concerns at the airport. All of that can be translated into an enterprise where trust is built. When we speak about trust, we say, before the plane launches, before we launch any AI tool, before we launch any feature that incorporates AI into it, we have done our due diligence, we have covered all our bases, and there is that trust that once we launch, we're good to go. And those are some of the things that we also want to bear in mind, that before a plane takes off, we have covered our bases. We're good to, we've gotten clearance and approvals before we push to production, and everything is well. Now, last but not the least, on the AI airport introduction that I want us to understand before we get into our conversation properly is safety plus flow equals to the goal. So when we look about safety, we look at flow in terms of how we migrate from the sandbox environment to production environment, making sure that we get clearance from legal, where we're not breaching regulatory rules, and and all of that. With the safety for the users and the sensitive data of our customers and all that stuff. When we're able to marry all of those with safety, it makes us achieve our goal. So every AI system needs a declared purpose. For instance, you can't just say, oh, most organizations are very in a hurry to say, oh yeah, we have AI in a system, but what purpose is this serving? What exactly is the benefit of having AI incorporated into your system? Are you trying to say, yeah, we're using AI to be able to personalize our services to our customers? We're using AI to focus to limit the amount of time and the resources that our personnel spend on doing manual tasks, for instance. Are you saying we're using AI to analyze data? When we talk about purpose, are we incorporating AI to say, oh, AI is going to come in and help speeding our processes? We need to understand that there has to be a declared purpose before we say, oh, we're introducing AI, we're working with AI and all of that. So what is the purpose of integrating AI into your existing system as an organization? Now, you also want to bear in mind that there are limits, and these limits also need to be factored into our monitoring plans. What are the limits? For instance, we've spoken about earlier, mentioned about sensitive data. We also want to ensure that our systems are not hallucinating, giving false positives. These are some of the things that we want to ensure that for instance, in the hospital, for instance, you want to ensure that patients don't get wrong results for the examination or the test that they've done. You don't want to ensure that there's no mixture in data, sharing data from one person to the other person. These are some of the things that we've seen over and over again, where before we push our AI systems, our features and tools into production, we haven't covered our bases. Now, risk and compliance oversight is crucial to every organization, is crucial to every enterprise. It is crucial before we launch, it's crucial before we move to production. And now it also ensures that there are no rogue models, no unsafe flights, and ensures no collision. We understand what it feels like when a plane launches and then you hear that, oh, there's been a crash. That also lets you know that we have launched prematurely. The systems haven't, been monitored properly. We haven't checked for risk. We haven't checked to ensure that systems there's safety. All that stuff is what leads to collision. And in literal terms, when we look about AI and organizations, what happens when there is a collision, for instance, in our moving away from the airport system to normal enterprise now, is the fact that the organization now faces operational risk. The organization is now exposed to reputational risk. Those are things that organizations don't want to face, because should you get into that, the impact cannot be measured. The impact of having an operational risk, being exposed to to users and to the governing bodies as well, regulatory bodies as well, you definitely don't want to be in the light of that, because your whole system would then be questioned. And that's why safety is at the forefront, is a core element of everything that we do with AI. Now, let's now move into another aspect where we would, help, elaborate on our AI airport system. Now, let's go into checking, intake, and registration. So if you've ever been on a plane, if you've ever, been at the airport where you need to fly and all, when you take your luggage, you need to check in. They need to ensure that, for instance, you have the visa to wherever you're going, you have the right documentation, your passport is valid. They want to ensure that the suitcase that you're carrying is within the limit of the expectation of the ticket that you've gotten. And they want to ensure that you are also boarding the right flight to the right destination that you're going. These are key elements that we want to integrate into our AI airport system. Now, what does this mean for us? When we capture purpose, when we capture data, and we also be able to analyze the risk level, why is this needed in AI? What business problem does this solve? Like we've spoken about before we go about saying, oh, we have AI, and what is the purpose of integrating AI into your system? It's, are you sure that the data that you have is secure? It's, you've been able to set different limits and access controls for different levels of people to have access to. You're able to separate what data you use, the synthetic data that you use for your sandbox, and you're able to, protect the sensitivity of the user data that you use in production. You also want to look at the risk level as well. So you also want to ensure that there's adequate risk control in place should you integrate AI into the system. Now, where AI ideas enter the governance journey is at the checking, intake, and registration point where we're capturing the data. Now, what data will it use? Is it sensitive? Is it regulated? Or is it proprietary? That's what I was saying about what does the customer present when they come to you at the checkpoint? What kind of data are they giving to you? What kind of information are you hoping to get out of whatever they give to you? Because if you come to the airport and you say, oh, here's my driver's license, what do you need a driver's license for at the airport? Your passport is what we're trying to capture there to say, oh yes, you have the right documentation to go into where you're going. And that's how this AI system works. For instance, you could say, oh, we're implementing ChatGPT into our system, or we're implementing Copilot, into our organization, for instance. What exactly is this supposed to do for the organization? Now, let's now move over to capturing the risk. Low risk automation or high risk decisioning? That's the question that we want to ask ourselves. Do we want to, what is your risk appetite? What is the risk threshold, for instance? Now, this check-in and control and registration point, this is where we decide whether an AI idea can proceed to security, or have we also taken into account of our risk assessment? Now, low risk automation is where we're looking at, do we want to be safe? Do we want to be do we want to be compliant? Do we want to ensure that whatever it is that we're trying to integrate into the enterprise is safe for us to do, to use, and we're not breaching, compliance or regulatory, rules and regulations? Or do you want to say, you know what, come on, high risk decisioning, you know what, don't worry about it. Let's just implement AI. Everyone in the organization gets AI. Use AI for, to speak to customers, get customer information and all that stuff. That's where organizations then land into big trouble. Now we go into where we've been able to capture all the data that we need. We've been able to analyze, yes, the risk levels, the kind of AI systems that we want to implement into the organization. Now then we bring into risk assessment. Risk assessment is where we look at the bias check. We look at data sensitivity. We look at the model explainability, and then compliance, which is the bread and butter for every enterprise when it comes to implementing AI. Now we've come to, like the airport, like we said, you've been able to give them your passport. They've checked that you have the right documents to proceed to wherever you're going to. And we've been able to implement from the AI standpoint, we've been able to say, oh yeah, this AI system is good to go. Let's now run it through the next level. Let's now run into our risk, the guys in risk. What are they checking for? We're checking for bias checks. So identity potential, unfair, or unintended outcomes. When we check for the identity of who is passing through the system, what kind of AI are we implementing into the system? Are there going to be data leakages? What kind of breaches are we going to want to bear in mind? Are we going to be biased? Is this going to be a fair system? Just like airport security screens every passenger and every bag, this stage screens every AI idea. This baggage control and all of that screens every AI idea that we bring. We're checking for bias, we're checking for data sensitivity and compliance, and the goal isn't to innovate. The goal isn't to innovate at this point. The goal is to ensure nothing unsafe passes through into the organization. Now, when we look at data sensitivity, we're assessing exposure risk and regulatory constraints that we've spoken about earlier. We're trying to ensure that, do we have the adequate control to ensure that we don't risk exposing our data? Are we sure that when it comes to regulatory compliance and all, we are not breaching it. We're in line with what the rules are. For instance, we have GDPR here in Europe. You want to ensure that the data we are using, its compliance with GDPR, for instance. And then there's the AI Act as well to ensure that whatever data we've gotten from our users, we're not using it for any other thing and running into our AI system for any other purpose than what we've said we're going to use it for. Now, model explainability ensures that decisions can be understood and justified. What's the justification for the decisions that we've made using the AI system or implementing the AI system into our enterprise? And then compliance. Compliance is where, you've built such a fantastic idea, we've looked at the benefits, we've looked at all the things that we need to factor in. And then we take it to compliance, guys, and then compliance now says, okay, you know what? We need to validate this idea. We need to validate everything that we've put together to ensure that we're complying with the rules and set regulatory, rules and organization policies to ensure that we are in line. So compliance will validate alignment with legal, with ethical and organizational standards, like I mentioned earlier. So that's where compliance comes in. And so in terms of risk and in terms of how we're looking at where we are at the airport right now, we're looking at, the security. And these are the 4 areas that we want to bear in mind: bias checks, data sensitivity, model explainability, and compliance. Should we have a go at all of that to say, yes, we're good to go, this is all clear, then we can then move to the next level. And the next level is, all right, cool. The passengers have cleared security, our AI models are good to go, we're able to now probably launch it. And then we now go into air traffic control, who now looks into the runway to ensure that what plane is landing, what plane is taking off, and do we get clearance for the plane to take off? Do we get clearance for our AI idea, our AI solution, or the feature that we're trying to integrate into our organization? Gets the approval to go, and we get that from the air traffic control. And air traffic control can be seen as where we're able to holistically look at the impact of implementing this into our systems. And I'll speak about the 3 points later on in a minute. And we were able to, give approvals to say, oh yes, we're good to go. Now, the first thing we want to look at this point is traffic governance board. The governance board is a final review of purpose, of risk and readiness, where we're said, okay, we've gone to compliance, we've gone to legal, we've gone through risk, our data, everything is good to go. Now, do we get the final approval? Should you review the purpose of implementing AI into our organization? What are the risks and the readiness for us to be able to, like I said, what is the purpose? Will the purpose be to help us analyze the phone conversations that comes into the organization to help our employees better use the tools to boost productivity, to optimize our processes? What exactly will be the purpose? The board would then decide to say, okay, you know what, we've been able to grant a pass, for instance, to say it has met the purpose for us to integrate it. It's within our risk appetite. We don't foresee any likely risk. And what's the readiness? I think they'll probably say, oh, we're ready to launch. And then the next thing is model validation. And when we come into the model validation, we look at the technicality of it and then the ethics of, the ethical component of it. So we want to ensure that the technical aspect of our models are good to go. It aligns with the expectations of the organizations, and it aligns with the purpose for integration of these tools into the organization. And then ethical checks, you want to ensure that bias is taken out, to ensure that we're operating within the ethics of of normal procedural systems in an organization before we deploy. Now, the last one I would say is very, very important, because it's something where a lot of people have fallen short when it comes to AI. Within the AI system now, for instance, generative AI, we can just give the prompt and it will just give us, oh yeah, write this fantastic email, or generate a photograph, or analyze this data for us. And sometimes people just copy and send off, or download and keep without even looking at the result of what, is put together. So that's why the human oversight is very, very important. It is key to this to this level where we are right now, controls and approvals. So clear accountability for approval decisions. So there has to be an human oversight to be able to look at all has been put together to ensure that yes, we're not just copying and pasting, or we're just moving ahead with what has been generated for us. We've been able to analyze each component of these systems, these governance systems, before we can now say, oh, you know what? Yeah, this plane is good to go. We've done our due diligence, and we've been able to ensure that the risk has been taken out. We're in compliance with regulatory rules and policies. And then once the human oversight has been, ticked off to say yes, clear accountability, and then we're ready for approvals, and this decision can be moved forward, then we then go to the next one. Now, the plane is ready to go, and the plane is our AI system, tools, and all of that stuff to say we are ready to launch these tools into our organization, following all the governance layers that we've passed through to get to this point. So the plane is on the tarmac now and ready to take off. That signifies what we've spent time building, our AI systems, our AI tools that we want to implement into the organization. Now it's ready to take off, it's ready to launch. We've moved from the sandbox environment to the production environment, where we are now sure that all we've spent time doing is ready to be used in the organization. Like you said, at number one, moving from sandbox to production, and the approved models now moving to live environment. So whatever errors that we didn't capture in the sandbox environment, in the UAT environment, for instance, whatever testings that were not done, once we move into the production environment, there's no going back. There's no going back at that point to say the plane has taken off. So we're definitely, clear to go. You're launched, you're moving, the plane is ready to go. Our ideas are, now valid. We're able to now take off. Now, the next will be monitoring begins. This is where the plane has taken off. We've launched. We're now in production. Everyone in the organization is saying, "Oh yes." The organization can come out and say, "Oh, we've deployed AI to over 60,000 employees." Or we've deployed AI to, organizations can come out to say, "Oh, we're now, AI savvy. Our organization has over 200,000 employees are now using AI." Before that organization gets to the point of, coming out to say, "This is where we are. Our AI systems are in place. This is, the benefits of having our employees empowered in this manner." These are the steps that we've have to go through before we get to the point of takeoff. Now we're talking about, when we look at monitoring, you could see the other guys in the control room earlier. The same way we can apply that into organizations. We're looking at performance. How well is the AI system working? Is it fulfilling the purpose that we've brought AI to do for us in the organization? Are our employees now focusing on core areas of their jobs that they need to do, and allowing the AI system to optimize our processes, to help us analyze our data, to help us, improve the simplification of what it is that employees do, and focus on the human side of things? For instance, how well are we doing? Performance. Because if you're not tracking performance, how do you know how well or how good the system is working? And now you're also looking at the drift. Is it drifting? The models drifting away from the specific purpose, specific systems that we've put in place. Like over time, if we're not checking, the models can begin to introduce. We've not even introduced. We now begin to see that hallucination is coming into the system. That's because it's probably drifting already, and it's beginning to give certain responses, and you begin to wonder, that wasn't factored in, or the models have been trained in a certain way, and you begin to understand that, oh, it's beginning to drifting, or has the system been exposed, to additional external data, for instance, which now becomes a big challenge, because employees, for instance, would be relying on this system to be able to do their jobs. And if they are not, say, for instance, in financial services or in healthcare, for instance, or even in production, for instance, one wrong information can turn the whole system, into a whole different direction. And then another thing we want to also consider is safety signals tracked from day one onwards. So what are the safety signals in place? Like we've said, are we ensuring that on a daily basis we are tracking, we ensure that people, are able to come back to us to say, oh, this is what I think, for instance, in organizations that we've seen, we've got employees to say, could you give us feedback on a monthly basis? Could you give us feedback on a daily basis to what you're noticing? And that feedback goes back into the loop to see how we can continually improve the process. People could come back to say, oh, you know what? I use, one of our tools to be able to analyze my data for me. And in 30 minutes, this is what it generated. I put in my Excel file into, the system, and within 30 seconds, this is what I had. So all of that keeps us in track to ensure that we're monitoring, we're tracking, we're checking performance, there's safety, and is within, the purpose for which we have, integrated that into our system. Now, let's now go back into let's now look into what exactly monitoring and, safety, looks into. The plane that's taking off now from our AI airport, this is the control room, and people are monitoring. Our features are up in the air, employees are using it, and everything seems to be going well as an organization. What are we monitoring? Like we've said, drift detection, we're monitoring performance, we're monitoring performance as well, and then incident playbooks. Now, once a model is in production, we don't just let it fly on its own. Like we've said, oh, the plane is gone, the features are working, everyone, and then we leave it. No. This radar represents monitoring detection drifts and tracking performance. And what are the incident reports that we're getting? Are people coming back to say, oh, you know what? There's been downtime. I tried to use the tool today. It didn't come up. Or I asked it to analyze this document for me. It didn't produce the document. With the incidents that we get, that we need to, also monitor, it gives us an idea of performance. How well is it doing? Are there any likely challenges? If that's the function of monitoring, that's the function of, this incident response team, to understand that should anything come up, we definitely take it back to them to say, guys, we need to understand what has changed, what's the drift, at the moment, and how well are we performing. So like we said, drift detection identifies changes in model behavior over time, and monitoring, on the other hand, it tracks accuracy, which I've spoken about earlier, about how the systems are beginning to hallucinate and begin to say things that don't even exist in the organization. And should you now begin to feed your customers with that information, it poses as a risk there as well. So we want to ensure that in terms of monitoring performance, how reliable are the system, how stable are the system. Those are some of the key things that we want to look at in terms of the performance of of that. Now we look at incidents. Incident reports are very, very important because we're able to get rapid response. We're able to contain any issues that might come up based on the responses that we've gotten. And this is very important for organizations to to let the employees know that, yes, we have all of this in place, but we want to ensure that should you notice any abnormalities, or should you notice any difference in, the system and all, do not waste any time. Let us know, flag it, give us reports. Even there's a time that we, deployed, some tool in an organization, and there were surveys sent out to people even without having to wait for them to raise incident tickets. For instance, we send out surveys to say, oh, let us know how these tools are doing, not just focusing on the negative. Let us know what are the positives. Are you enjoying it? What are you saying? What are you seeing that are positives? What are you seeing that is helping you, improve the work that you do? What are you also noticing that is done for you? So with all the feedback that you get over time, you're sort of subconsciously training employees to be able to say, because I'm already used to showing, letting, the organization know and the team know, the response team and monitoring team know that these are the good sides of all, what we've implemented. Should anything go wrong, should I notice any abnormality, because they have already imbibed the culture of, coming back to you to let you know that, okay, these are the benefits, these are the things that they've noticed. They are able to come back to say, you know what, I tried to use, one of our tools today, and I put in, the data, for instance, on the expectation of what I wanted it to analyze for me, but it just came back and was giving me some information from outside the organization. And then we want to understand, okay, how did the model identify, you know, that data, for instance, or how did that external data get into our, and internal systems and all? That's when you now begin to easily flag it without it, costing the organization so much in damage. Now, we understand the AI airport now. We understand the flights that have taken off. We understand that those can be related to organizations. Those can be related to how features can be deployed moving from sandbox to production. Now, when the plane takes off, where does it go? When we push those features and all, where does it really land? It lands in our AI system. And the AI system is what I will speak about now. It lands in our AI city. And the AI city is what I'm going to speak about now in a moment. So, like we said, we've looked at the airport, we've looked at, governance, we looked at control, we looked at risk, we looked at safety on the other end, and we've been able to say the control room has given approval for the feature for the AI tool to be implemented into the organization to be launched. Now, all of that can then move on to the metaphor that I've also designed for us to talk about today, the AI city. Now, what is the AI city and how does it connect to what we've said earlier on? So once a model has taken off and it safely land, it doesn't leave at the airport. Do you understand? It doesn't land at the airport and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's it. No, it lives in the city, the AI city that we've spoken about here now. Then the AI city represents enterprise ecosystem. The enterprise ecosystem basically refers to the teams in the organizations, the data that we have, the infrastructure of the organization, and the processes that keeps the AI running on a daily basis. So you understand the plane has landed as a feature and all. Now it is now coming into the organization, which is our AI city. So as you can see on the screen, that's an organization. You could be a multinational company. It could be a small company, for instance. But that feature or whatever AI tool that we have, launched as an airplane has now come into your organization, the AI city, because this is it. And the city incorporates our infrastructure, our data, the employees, the teams, and the resources that we have. So integrating all of that into your organization is what we want to talk about now. So I've said once the AI lands in the AI city, where they operate on a day-to-day basis, like we've seen on above, that's what the AI city basically represents. Now, the city represents enterprise ecosystems, like I've said, represents our teams and data infrastructure and the users who are going to be interacting and finding use of these tools and features on a daily basis. Now, it has landed. It's been integrated into our teams. It's been integrated into our infrastructure, and users are able to, use it on a daily basis. But how do we scale that? How does scaling happen? Because how does scaling happen? You've pretty much introduced something. How do you ensure that people are able to use it, people are able to find benefit of it in it, and people are able to understand that, okay, yeah, this is something that we have and we need to integrate it into our daily, operations. Now, where does scale happen? AI, when we speak about scales and when it happens in the organization, we look at it from the AI shifting from isolated points to core operational capability, where people are able to use it across teams, they're able to use it across their daily processing, and they're able to use it to help customer journeys, to help customers to understand the different needs of each customers, so we can incorporate that into the customer journeys on how our customers integrate and utilize our systems. Now, scale also happens when AI is integrated into the organization systems, into the organization data flows, and the business architecture of the organization. And now that happens when we're now saying that, oh, we've launched this, the organization has this, but where does it sit? We need to now embed it into the systems of the organization, how data flows from each team to each team, and the business architecture, implementing that into the architectural designs of the organization, of the enterprise, and how that is supposed to boost productivity and how that is supposed to help organization be more effective. Now, this now on the long run becomes part of how work gets done, because the AI has now settled, it has now landed into the enterprise, and we're now scaling it from, for instance, I'll give you an instance where organizations could say, for us to be able to monitor this, and to ensure that we're not breaching compliance and the risk that we're exposing, users or employees to is very minimal. We can say, for instance, because this large organization has the potential to deal with sensitive data, how about in terms of our integration process, we integrate it into teams that don't deal with sensitive data. For instance, you can say, oh, technology team doesn't really interface with the front office side of things, so they're more back office. So we can say, oh yeah, this feature or this tool that we're integrating, technology team can work on it, and then we can see how that goes from there. And then over time we begin to scale. We can say, oh, we can then scale to the compliance team because they pretty much were part of the journey. We can then scale to the legal team because legal doesn't deal with sensitive data as well. We can then scale up to the regulatory team, for instance. Then we go to operations, from operations to then front office. So that is a very systematic way that we can integrate and scale the systems in an organization where we're bearing in mind that we're looking at the risk appetite of the organization to not bring AI and launch it to our system, and the whole organization, should anything go wrong, doesn't affect the whole organization. Those are procedural and safety ways that we can easily launch and then scale up. Now, the last one there is AI delivers, when talking about scaling, how AI delivers measurable value by supporting real world decisions, automating tasks, and enhancing services at scale. When we speak about automating tasks, for instance, you can think of an organization where somebody sits down and spends 30 minutes every day downloading an Excel file and then doing some pivot table, putting some bar chart and pie chart, or spending that much time when all that can be automated. That's what happens when somebody spends 30 minutes to 1 hour every single day on their desk doing something that our various tools can do in 1 minute, in 30 seconds, for instance. So automating tasks that would take time, humans shouldn't be spending much time focusing on, we can automate that as well to be able to provide measurable value to the organization. Supporting real world decisions. For instance, when people want to get credit card, for instance, you don't want to allow the users be on the phone spending time speaking to an operator to say, oh, are you able to get this credit card, and all the customer needs to do is interact with the system. For instance, with that system, they're able to see what's the threshold, what's the risk, the credit risk of this customers, and what kind of credit card can they get. Simple questionnaires, automating, on all of that through a chatbot system. All of that can be done, and less time can be spent doing manual processes and just ensuring that we're able to enhance services at scale, conscious of time. And we will now look at where AI lives. And now, when we've been able to integrate AI into the organization, we've been able to scale. Now we need to bear three things in mind: customer facing zones, internal zones, and high risk versus low risk zones. Customer facing zones, like I've said, about how certain parts of the organization can be interfacing with customers, interfacing with sensitive data, like bank details, security numbers, passport details, for instance, date of birth, ID cards, and all that stuff. So you want to ensure that AI interacts directly with users, clients, or with citizens, with the premise that we've done due diligence and we're not going to be exposing that data. There's not going to be data leakages from the application of that. We also want to look at where the internal zones, where AI is supporting operations, analytics, and internal workflows. You want to ensure that it's also doing enhancing business operations, like we've said earlier on in the internal zones. We also want to bear in mind that there are high risk versus low risk zones. And we also want to ensure that we have different safety nets for those different areas, and we have different oversights for these areas. And we also have different approval layers based on impact. We also want to bear in mind that access levels need to be limited as well. Not everyone should have access to high risk areas and low risk areas. And those are the three things that you want to bear in mind to ensure that what's happening in our customer facing zone, what's happening within our internal zones, and what's happening in our high risk versus whole low risk areas when we deploy this into our system. So I'm just going to try to breeze through this in 2 minutes. So AI has been deployed. We want to bear in mind that there are data pipelines that need to be reliable, for for the flows and that move and clean and prepare data for AI. We want to ensure that it's more or less like making sure that our houses are in check, everything that needs to be in place are in place, and still looking at the AI city, for instance, here. So you can see what a data model should look like, how the interconnectivity of it all plays a huge role in ensuring that the AI models get what they need to be able to do the work that needs to be done. So we want to look at feature stores, centralized, reusable features that keep models consistent, shared services, common tools, APIs, and platforms that support all AI teams. So this more or less looks like the skeletal systems and the data infrastructures that need to be considered when we scale up our data and scale up AI into the organization. And we're looking at the transport models of how data moves across the systems. So we're looking at the continuous integration and continuous delivery of our automated workflows that test and validate and promote models safely. And then we also want to bear in mind that the deployment pathways I spoke about earlier, to ensure that you're not exposing the whole organization, to a new tool that you've launched, to ensure that there are structured routes for moving models from deployment to production, like we've said, in the sandbox to production system, and then versioning. Now we're tracking and managing models iteration to ensure that there's consistency, and then there's a rollback capability. The rollback capability is very, very important to organizations to ensure that should we roll out a feature to employees or to customers, and where we identify a huge flow, we identify data leakages, we want to ensure that we're able to quickly roll back what has been launched. So those are things that you want to bear in mind, that yes, you're able to roll out these amazing features, customers and everyone can be able to use it. You can go out to say, yes, 200,000 of our employees can use it, but should you identify that there's a data leakage, for instance, or your model is not working as expected, there is a structured system to be able to roll back that capability, which now speaks to what we're speaking about, the deployment pathways, to ensure that certain parts of the organizations have gotten this tool, have used it for a bit, have been able to come back to give feedback, to be able to give their evaluation of what they've noticed before we then roll out to the wider organization or to the wider customers. Now we look at think I need to quickly just run through this. When we look at emergency services still in our AI system, we want to look at incident response, which I spoke about earlier on, that customers and users are able to give us feedback, to be able to raise incident tickets, to say, this is what I noticed. So we can use that to detecting and giving like an audit trail of what has happened, and for us to be able to resolve AI issues as soon as possible, to be able to shut down any mechanisms for unsafe or malfunctioning models. And we also want to ensure that we have a complete and up-to-date log of our decisions and actions and the behaviors of the system, of the AI system. Is very, very important, because you just don't want to be able to roll back and not realize this is the point where there may have been exposure of our system to be able to leak data, or integration of any aspect of it that shouldn't be allowed. But now let's bring it all together. AI city and AI airport. How does this all come together for an organization as we wrap up? Now, the airport, for instance, refers to our safe environment where the data is being introduced into our sandbox environment. For instance, we're looking at our governance, our control, our compliance to regulatory rules, looking at laws like GDPR, data protection, and all of that stuff. We've seen that as the airport. now we've also now seen how a feature has gone through all of that. The AI models have gone through all of that, and then we launch into the city, and where the city is the scalable ecosystem of how all we've worked on has been introduced into an organization, having passed through all the governance layers that we've spoken about. It has now been introduced into the ecosystem of the organization. Then we scale it, and then when we put all those together, we are now saying that responsible AI at enterprise is a scale because we have done our due diligence. We have gone through the expected procedures that we need to do to be able to have that launched into the organization. So, and now, the three takeaways from all the what we've spoken about today is governance as a journey, AI ecosystem as a city, and innovation plus safety can coexist. And I'm hoping that we've been able to understand that from the concept, the metaphors that I've been able to share with us today, to understand that a structured end-to-end enterprise that guides every AI safely from concept to deployment will sit very well within our governance structure. And then when we now look at the AI ecosystem as the city where we've been able to launch the plane and it has landed in the organization, that it has come into a scalable environment where models can live, they can interact, they can deliver value across the organization. Different teams are able to automate their processes, different teams are able to find time to do other things because the system has been optimized. Operations, is now, very swift. Things can be done in record time. And then the last but not the least is now where innovation and safety can coexist because we've done our due diligence. The work that needs to be done in terms of from the safety aspect of things have been, covered. And then from that point, we now begin to say, oh, you know what? How do we scale? How do we innovate? How do we even make this better? How can we train our model to be able to even offer more value to the organization? So with the right design, governance, and accelerate with the right design and governance, we can definitely accelerate responsible adopt. We can definitely accelerate responsible adoption rather than slowing it down. Because why do we need to slow it down when we've done our due diligence? We've been able to cover our bases. We have a proper governance structure in place. There's an audit trail. There's guardrails. We're not breaching compliance. All of that, as as you can see on the screen there, that is what a working model should look like in an organization. It comes in and then it sits there and it powers the whole organization, optimizing operations, optimizing business efficiencies, and it helps the organization scale and focus on what really is important to the organization. So, in conclusion, artificial intelligence is deeply embedded in modern life, offering numerous benefits while presenting its challenges, which we've spoken about, earlier on. Its future holds immense potential in improving industries, research, and daily convenience. As AI continues to evolve, ethical consideration and responsible implementation will be crucial in shaping a better future for us all. Thank you very much. That would be me.
Thank you so much, Kelvin, for such an insightful session. And I would like to thank you for that incredible example of the airplane, right? So we would look forward to have more sessions where until we get the safe landing
Yeah, I
of our
know.
own planes and our participants, I believe they agree with me. So
Yeah.
it was an amazing example. It was you made it very easy to understand how the
Thank you.
governance actually works and it should work.
Mm.
And I would like to inform all the participants that we do have the panel discussion scheduled on five different topics, starting from value, deploy, orchestrate, upskill, and govern. So I would like to inform you all that I've already shared the registration link in the chat box. We have already done with the value session, which is available on the YouTube currently. And please do join us for our upcoming panel discussions as well. I believe this is definitely going to be helpful for all of you as we do have the global experts joining us to share their insights for this panel discussion. So thank you so much, Kelvin, for an amazing session. As we are open for the Q&A, I would like to take some questions here. Uh, we have got question from Juvi. What are the biggest risk, ethical, legal, or operational when deploying AI agent at scale?
So, what are the biggest risk? Mm-hmm. Say that again.
So, what are the biggest risk, ethical, legal, or operational when deploying AI agent at scale?
Yeah, so I think the biggest risk would definitely be the models that we've spoken about. So for instance, talking about GDPR, I mentioned the GDPR earlier on to ensure that we're not breaching, you know, the GDPR protocol for in Europe, for instance, to say, should you be exposing these models to sensitive data by the users of the users? You want to ensure that you're using only the information that you said that you need, for instance, and not taking sensitive data, private information of people, and then using that to do other things. Like if I think, for instance, you could see how ChatGPT, on the other hand, for instance, has, over time been able to mimic human beings. And all that stuff is happening because we're throwing in our pictures in there, we're throwing in our personal information, and all of that is now being used to train the model. So these are some of the things that we want to bear in mind in consideration of not breaching, this said risk appetite and this risk frameworks in place.
Great. Thank you so much for answering that one. There's another follow-up question from Julie again. How
Mhm.
do agents change the way organizations think about workflows and decision making?
How the organization what?
How do AI agents change the
Yeah.
way organization thinks about workflows and decision making?
So so I would say that organizations are looking at that from the aspect of what is the current. I think I gave an instance of how credit cards, for instance, were given in the past. So in the past, when a user, take for instance, all of us on this call have approached an organization like a financial organization to say, "Oh, I need a credit card." In the past, it has always been one size fits all to say, do you have the right credit score to be able to get this kind of loan? Do you have the right credit score or to be able to get this kind of, services? It was a one size fit all. But when we introduce AI, for instance, it's no longer a one size fits all because there's hyper personalization with the introduction of AI. So AI is now beginning to able to, with the data that is fed into it, to now look at the different needs of each user, the different needs of each customer to be able to profile the adequate solution to their kind of expectation or the needs. To say, for instance, somebody who is doing a business, for instance, shouldn't be assessed on the basis that they are an employee who receive a daily wage or a monthly salary, and that impacts the amount they're able to get for their business. So hyper personalization plays a key role on how decision making, can be incorporated into an organization.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for answering that one. Moving forward to the another question. We have got this question from Belas. What are the biggest risk, ethical, legal? I believe we have completed this question.
Yeah, we have.
Pardon about that. Moving forward to the another question, we have got it from Bhavish. Question is, please give HILT, HILT, going wrong, human in the loop.
So So that basically looks at, incorrect inputs, giving the models the opportunity to improve over time, but, humans are able to analyze, this context in a different way. And that's why I was speaking about training the models, for instance. Should we not improve the accuracy of that? That's where we are now able to face the most risk. So we want to look at how reliable our systems are and how much time. And that's I was earlier on I was speaking about how we we need to we need to get feedback from our employees. So human in the loop basically looks at how collaborative approach where humans actively participate in the AI life cycle, the training of the models, the tuning and operating to improve accuracy, to improve safety and reliability. And all of that can only be done should we allow the users to give us feedback. So if the users don't give feedback or if the users are not using the tools or the features as expected, the human aspect of it, it's not, you're not being incorporated. So if people are able to notice that, oh, I think I'm noticing some bias in, the system, for instance, or if I'm able to, if I request using this prompt, I request for this, to be done, and it does something different. It's the models can be trained because people are not interacting with it, and we're not able to see how reliable the system are.
Thank you very much for the clarification on that.
Yeah.
I believe that we have covered almost question. In case if I'm missing any question, I would like to encourage all the participants. Feel free
Yeah,
to reach out to Kelvin.
Yeah,
Yes,
you can
Kelvin,
reach out to
please.
me on LinkedIn. It's Kelvin Ibrahim. I'm happy to continue the conversation and we're happy to take more questions on LinkedIn. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to speak with you today. I hope you've been able to understand or get something off the conversation today. Thank you very much, Pritam. Thank you all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's good to have you for all the sessions, Kelvin. And dear participants, I have already shared his LinkedIn profile link in the chat box. Feel free to reach out to him if you have any concern or if you want to discuss further anything regarding today's session. Right. So I do have some quick announcement for all of you. Please stay connected till the end. Also, I'll be announcing some upcoming panel discussions, date and timing, etc. So and before that, I would like to tell you all that we do have this feature certification program with us. You can check out all the listed certifications on our website, or you can get in touch with a learning advisor for more details. So you can go for AI foundations, AI tool mastery and agentic AI domain specialist, AI strategic integrated, AI guardian, and AI change evangelist and leadership advocate. You can use this promo code, which is AI20, to get 20% discount on any of these listed certification featuring to AI. Feel free to use this code and get amazing discounts because we have this offer, which is very certain period of time. So grab this opportunity and do sign up yourself for the certification program. And in case if you're looking for any partnership with GSDC, feel free to reach out to a relevant spot, which is mentioned in this slide. You can take a screenshot of it. Also, I've shared the details in the chat box as well. So whether you are looking for any individual certifications, authorized training partnership, university academic partnership, or enterprise level partnership, right? So please feel free to reach out to our learning, our relevant spot, which is mentioned in the slide, to get further inquiries regarding all the training partnership program that we have. And this is regarding the utility tool. This tool we have introduced in the GSDC earlier for all the professionals out there. So how this tool will help? This tool will help to improve your LinkedIn profile score, your AI skill score. In short, it will help you to build your personal brand. And this tool has a feature where you can create AI generated resumes as well. Feel free to use this AUG100 as a code to get 100% off, which is completely free, and this is only for our webinar attendees. And as I mentioned that I do have some announcement regarding the panel discussion. So this is what I was talking about. The panel discussion on AI adoption virtual conference has started already from 15th April to 13th May 2026 on every Wednesday with the same time slot that you have joined this session right now, which is 9:30 p.m. Singapore, 5:30 p.m. GST, 2:30 p.m. DST, 8:30 a.m. Central, and 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So do join us. You'll find the registration link for this in the chat box itself. And this is our regular L&D session. We have this incredible panel lined up for this week, 28th till 24th April 2026. Do join us for this session on a different time slot. This is happening 10:30 a.m. Central, 11:30 p.m. Singapore, 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So as you can see, we do have this incredible panel lined up for this series to share the insights on leadership and learning analytics driving measurable performance. And this is our another continuation of ISO series, which is happening this week, 20th to 24th April 2026 on different time slots. Make a note of the time slot as we are having 3 different webinars on different time slots along with the panel discussions. So as you can see, we do have this panel of industry experts lined up for this series as well. So do join us. And this is another panel discussion which is happening on learning and development in enterprise, and open panel discussion happening on 21st April, that is tomorrow, 5th May 2026 and 21st May 2026. I have already shared the registration link. If you haven't registered yourself yet, feel free to register using the same link that I have shared in the chat box. Also, you can connect with us over WhatsApp group to get daily updates and real-time updates on the same. Also, you can scan this QR to register yourself, and you can use this coupon code as well for the panel discussion. Also, you'll be getting all the details on our website under the upcoming webinars track, where you can register yourself as well. And let's congratulate to all our referral champions who have referred maximum people to this specific series, and appreciate them for taking efforts for referring people to our series, right? So we'll be getting back to all the winners who have earned 50 or more than 50 points with the rewards, which is worth $400. Right? So referring people to sessions like this, powerful and knowledgeable, it is something that you are taking step ahead and becoming thoughtful leader, right? So feel free to refer maximum people and be the winner, as top 3 winners will be featured on the GSDC board of you. And we would love to hear from you, your experiences about the sessions, your learning, your key takeaways, right? So feel free to use these hashtags, learn with GSDC, hashtag GSDC impact. Feel free to share your experiences so far and tag us on our social page, and we'll be definitely making one of the professional as spotlight of the week. Here are some experiences that we have received, and it's amazing to see that GSTC isn't just a certification anymore. It's become transformation backed by real voices. Feel free to share your experiences as well. We would love to see them. And in case if you're looking for any speaker opportunity at GSTC, feel free to share your speaker profile with us, and we're happy to take it forward, as we do have global platforms like Learning Capsule, Webinar, and Podcast. You can share your speaker profile with me directly at Preetham@gsdcouncil.org or my colleague Pratibha @gsdcouncil.org. You will find the email addresses in the chat box. You can scan this QR to connect with us over social platform. As I mentioned, that you'll be getting daily updates, real-time updates on these groups. Also, we do have WhatsApp community group where you'll be getting notifications regarding new certification launches as well. So scan this QR and connect with us over across all the platforms. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We will look forward to have you all join for our upcoming sessions as well. Until then, take care of yourself and keep learning. Thank you, everyone. Take care.